We were in his car, eating pizza he had ordered. Dariel, or rather Dari for short, is one of my weirdest relationships to recount because he was not bad or good. He was nice. Just like that. Nice. Like most of my exes and my narcissistic dad, he loved to be liked, which is not a bad thing. In fact, it's human. Who does not want to be liked? The problem was his desperation to be liked by everyone made him oddly mean nothing. And that nothing had a tendency to be silent on opinions but loud in choose. The demise with Dadiel really began in a political setting. I have always attracted debaters, and now I see as someone who revels in silence more that was my daddy issue. My father turned everything into a problem and a discussion to deflect that he was the problem that needed to be discussed. In some ways, that energy landed me in some combative relationships, of which Dariel felt relieving because he never fought. At first, I thought it was peaceful and warm, but in time, I realized it was a man quieting and molding his personality in every social setting, including our relationship, to remain in good graces without ever declaring what were his good morals or good goals or even good development. He had planified himself, and because I was so used to mess, I confused his dimness for calm. Now, I do not want anyone to go full Xena warrior princess, but he was also not Jesus in terms of inner balance and stability. As someone who had held him through private fears and tears, I knew he had thoughts, but he only disclosed to me when he felt overwhelmed by his lack of life direction. Yet to enter a party with him was like watching my dad peruse a crowd with a charming set of Snapple facts on history, culture, and war. Thus, if he knew so much, why did he act like he felt nothing? We were eating pizza at an NYC restaurant with some traveling friends, of which one, from a wealthy immigrant family, began to discuss her vote for Trump 2016. Danielle was not voting for Trump, but his friend was, because Trump's policies were really about her personal wallet, of which there was no way the poor were getting wealthier if the wealthy do. She scoffed at my facts as if they were opinions, and all my education and compassion for the poor went right into her fettuccine carbonara. To her, whatever poor person voted for Trump voted against their interests, and that was on them. Which she wasn't wrong, but she did feel like a supervillain in a very petite frame, of which a table soon joined in on our discussion, and Dariel just ate his food, not looking at me, but slurping and guzzling his bolognese as if it was liquid. I squinted in disgust and a growing disdain. In that moment, he felt so unattractive to me because I did not necessarily want him to defend or even join me. I just wanted him to say what he thought, what he felt, despite all sparked controversies. Or maybe in the beauty of seeing people agree with you because you're you and not just a mirror of them. Why couldn't he have a voice? And so, my 6 week timer began. Stop eating like that, I said in the car, nauseated by how quickly and barely chewing he was eating. He felt like Patrick from SpongeBob SquarePants, just opening his mouth hatchet and letting all the grub and its ingredients go in without cherishing any taste, reveling in the food, or even having some proper biting. You eat so fast. I hate that. It's making me eat fast, I declared. I'd barely bit into my first slice of this freshly opened pizza box before he was on his third. Sorry, he said. Mm-mm. He was folding a slice into fours and stuffing it in his mouth. Why do you do that? I said, staring at his eating again. My father was a glutton, and the physicality of his deviancy is something that now, in recuperating from his abuse, I can bear witness to. He could barely get through any food without loud chewing. And he also ordered way more than what he could eat, even up to 6 plates, just to show off and feel like he was a king eating over presents. In perspective, it was gross, especially because that loud chewer would be the one that would say, I was fat despite his belly, or would declare that I was loud despite being the first man to make a gummy bear sound like a nuclear bomb going off. His audibility became annoying and even more noticeable in time because his bullying grew too. He was making me feel like I was insufferable, when in truth, he just wanted to make me suffer. Do what? Dariel said, picking up his fifth slice. Agree with me and say you're going to stop just to continue. I have eyes, Dariel, I declared, annoyed. He was again acting like my dad, pretending elusive words covered up blatant actions or even crimes. Sorry, he said, as he was about to turn another slice into a whole one bite. Stop, I yelled. Chew now. Come on, Deandra, he said with a pinch of frustration. You did that at the pasta night, too. Eat and avoid confrontation. Is this a fight over my chewing? He asked, perplexed. This is not about a fight about your chewing, or rather your audible lack of chewing. This is about how you let someone degrade me and stayed barely chewing your pasta. I don't want to talk politics. I don't like that. Besides, you handled yourself. She called me stupid, and you said after how she was annoying, but then you talked to her the next day and said both sides had fault. What the are you talking about? Oh my God, you could handle it. And I don't need to fight for you, he said, trying to sound calm with an undertone of shut the F up. You agreed with me and agreed with your friends and disagreed with her. But nobody knew that until you did those little side one on one conversations with everybody to look like the collected one and do that weird little eye nod that, she's crazy, but we love her, right? Why did you just not say your thoughts? Have a little voice, backbone. This is so stupid. Now I have no voice, I have no chew. What else, Deandra? Who cares if she doesn't like you? It's not that she doesn't like me, it's mutual. It's that if you cannot stand up or stand with me or even yourself, do you like me? Come on, he said, and started the car, cutting the conversation and away us. All right, let's discuss, let's heal. So I think, the funny thing about Dariel is I have one thing about daddy recovery is how I attract men like my dad in every form, whether it be bosses, friends, um, and not just men, even women, like just attract this energy. And it's not, for however much you may attract an energy, you pick it. And what was so funny about Dariel is that I really thought I picked somebody that wasn't my dad because I guess like he wasn't a fighter. He did not like to fight. And I don't like to fight either. If anything, I'm trying to learn how to fight. I'm trying to learn how to dislike. I'm trying to learn how to be okay with the fact that everybody won't like me and that I should have opinions. And if those opinions stir the table, then let the table be stirred. But he avoided that like the plague. And one thing that was really annoying about him was how malleable he was. He just wanted everybody to like him and everybody to think he was cool and cool headed. And the problem is, there are times you need to, like, I don't know, have a spine. Say something, feel something. It's okay to go against the tide. And one of my frustrations about myself is that I don't like to go against the tide, but I find myself against it. And I'll never give up or break my spine to make someone else like me or see that my opinions have validity. What I do is that I grieve and I get into these little mini depressions like, how could the world not all get along? Or how could somebody say that love is bad? So I think with that Yale, what I liked was how everything kind of washed away from him, but it was because nothing washed over him. And in a way, that made him exactly like my dad, like this ability to reshape according to every person and mirror them while looking like you had a personality when you were just imitating people. And again, I want to clarify like, he wasn't Jesus, and I'm not like this Hulk character that just loves to fight with everybody. I'm really not like that. And I liked having a relationship. I think he was one of the first relationships that it was like, oh, it's just so nice not to have a combat theme and to have everything be like a discussion. Like one of my exes, everything was like, it was like talking to him was like talking to my dad, chess. Everything had it. Why do you feel like this? And why do you do things like this? And why? And Dariel was the opposite. You spoke, he was very similar. I don't know if you see Vanderpump Rules. He was very, very similar to Schwartz. Kind of that guy that lets immorality slide just to be the, well, you can't judge people. And it's like, but you do judge people. You judge the person who says that's wrong. Like he judged me because we were eating and she was pro Trump. And I stay away from political debates for the most part because I just think, especially uh, and globally, but particularly in America, debates are stupid because we don't debate for people to see each other's side. We debate to kind of get more subscribers and more followers and see if I shape my argument so interestingly I get a sponsor. Like there's always this intention of popularity and money. Even if you have the moral upper ground, there's still this intention of I'm getting the moral higher ground to hopefully get sponsored by Geico. Like there's never this shaking of commodifying your arguments to get followers, to win over the table. And I'm somebody that I'm like I'm debating for world peace. Like I thought we were discussing world peace because we want world peace. And I know not everybody wants world peace, and I know that not everybody's going to have a moral argument. Some people are stupid, some people are evil. And she was. She was like very annoying and bitchy and very like, oh, I think I'm a princess. And the thing about Dariel is that he didn't even like her like that. And I wanted to be precarious when I was retelling the story because it kind of sounds like, damn, was he having an affair? Are you sure he didn't really like her? Because he defended her and spoke to her the next day. But that was the problem with Dariel. He didn't have to like you to want you to like him, aka my dad. He didn't have, and he would do this thing of like talking with everybody in private. Yeah, that got tense back there. Like, what do you, this isn't Fast and the Furious 14. What do you mean tense back there? Like the table agreed with me and disagreed with her. And I'm not a yeller or a tense person. She was just like really, really mean and saying these crazy things. And in a way, she wasn't wrong. Like people who vote against their own interests, you get what you effing deserve. It's like when Joker confronted Murray, you know, it's that you get what you deserve. But other people are going to not get what other people are not going to get what they deserve. They're going to suffer too. Innocent people will suffer, and they did. Um, and it's tricky with the poor because uneducation is a tool to make sure that people vote for fascism. And America has an incredibly high rate of illiteracy. And it has the problem with lack of education, although there are a lot of educated morons and assholes, is that the more educated you are, the more likely you are to have compassion. And the more likely you are to have compassion for others, probably means you're giving grace to yourself. So that's one thing about the poor, too. It's not just that they don't know how to read or they're not that smart, it's that they are suffering from depression. They're incredibly angry, they're incredibly bitter, and they don't have the healing tools to even understand who is actually coming to heal them. You understand? Like, education isn't just about learning facts and knowing, oh my God, history and music and culture. And it's also about knowing enough about humanity so that you can give yourself grace on your own humanity. And Dariel was like my dad in that I know every history of every country, of every person, and I love to gossip. And yet, all this information gathering, all this displaying of information, and no opinion of it. Because the minute you have an opinion, the minute you make a moral, especially in public, you might not have people that like you. And he couldn't stand that. And there's something sneaky about like going one on one, everybody that got tense back there, including me, like I was the tense one. And it marked us, and it really marked the beginning of our end. The 6 week timer began. And what I wanted, obviously, I compared Daniel a lot to my dad, but I also, what was so interesting about Daniel is he was a really loud chewer. And I think there's so many funny ways I dated my dad, and my dad didn't know how to eat. He would always order like 6 plates, barely get through one, and chew. And the thing is, when you fall in love with somebody or you try to love somebody, you make everything grand about them. And there's always this kind of balance because you don't want to make them the most disgusting person on earth just because they did disgusting things to you, right? Or rather, I think as women we're told, because often men are the ones that abuse us and betray us, that we should handle with care how we see them in perspective, as if because we're seeing them according to their abuse, we become the crazy ones, when it's really they were the crazy ones. And what was so ironic about Dariel was he embodied a very physical disgusting habit of my dad to just chew loudly and be very gluttonous and order 18 plates when he wasn't going to eat half of them, or and I'm all for leftovers, and let's take out. So but it was that energy of like the king being served by the peasants, give me that overstuffed painting of Henry VIII with his gut blasting, thinking that he's wealthy because he's wearing a bunch of jewelries and a belly. And it was such a physical symbol of my dad's greediness. And it became more and more noticeable to me because his bullying became more noticeable, his abusiveness. He, as I got older, oh, you're so fat, you're so ugly, you laugh too loud, you speak too loud. Like everything about me was monitored by his malice, only to find in perspective he was gross, and that he was trying to act like I was insufferable to excuse that he wanted to make his child and daughter suffer. So his loudness, it wasn't that he was loud, it's that I was. And it was just one projection after another, to the point where I just ate like salads in front of him because I was terrified of what he would say. When I had an Aperol in front of him, I was a lush. This man was an alcoholic. Who's he calling a lush? And it was that physicalizing of his abuse in an odd way, without necessarily hitting me, that when Dariel would chew, and he would literally he swallowed like 3 pizza slices without chewing. I got so annoyed because I'm the type of person, like if I see people running, I'm running. Like I'm not going to ask why we're running. You go, I go. And it's almost subconscious. Like I had a British principal, and whenever he would talk to me, I would subconsciously switch into like the worst British accent, to the point where I didn't even want to hang out with him or like say hi to him, because I was so embarrassed at how subconsciously I mirrored him. And I guess like that's what annoyed me about Dariel. His ability to mirror. And we all want to be liked. We all have our mirror moments. But it was to a point where he had no backbone. He had no spine. And in a way, he had made me unsafe in the relationship. Because how can you actually grow with somebody who's going to toss you under the bus for somebody he finds annoying? And I knew he found her annoying, and not even like I'm secretly attracted to her. It's just this thing he did of kind of like, in a way, he gossiped about me. Like, yeah, they all got tense. No, we didn't all get tense. She got stupid. And he was chewing, and then it became about that night, and exactly how the episode ended is how it ended. He started the car and drove off. It was like we were sharks circling a body, and then we just swam away. You know, we were two starving sharks trying to finally get some meat into this relationship, and he swam away. He swam away. And what was so, again, you really do date your dad, right? Or if you're a guy, you date your mom. And if you had an abusive mom, ugh, damn, that hurts. Um, but it was this thing of like, he didn't realize he was putting all the weight on me. He wasn't not even not having an opinion is having an opinion. He wasn't looking friendly or smart or collected. He was looking spineless. And I didn't need him to necessarily agree with me or my behavior. I needed him to exist. He only existed when he was entertaining. Other than that, he disappeared. But yet, I was the one that he would tell his fears to. I was the one that he became vulnerable to. And when I was vulnerable, he wasn't there. It was my fault, or I could handle me. And God, that sucked. Because I could fight for me. I mean, he's right there. But when you want a partner, I'm not asking him to go yell at a woman. Just saying, I'm voting for this person or I don't agree with your politics is enough. Because I know his opinions, but no one else does. Because he avoids controversy except with me. He didn't mind that I disliked him. He didn't mind that I felt unsafe with him because I had to understand he liked and felt safe with how he presented himself with others as just this spineless, cool guy. Oh, and I want to be balanced here because not because, F it, like, yeah, I'm crazy and he's stupid. Say it. I think as women or as in general abuse victims, yeah, he was horrible. It's okay to lift the veil and see that you gave away your special for somebody who was so deeply unspecial. You should hate yourself for a while. You should be angry at yourself. My father was a nothing burger in energy and vibes, and not even, and I don't even say that in a maliciousness. It's just that desire to be the most loved person that hated everyone. Whereas Daniel was, he just wanted to be liked by everybody. And like me, this is where we had in common. He convinced himself he liked everybody, and I did too. But I guess my tolerance was lower than him. There are points when you don't like somebody, or there are points when it's okay to like yourself more than you like the person in front of you. And he wouldn't allow that. Check out daddyrecovery.com. Check out d'angelouseitall.com. And follow. Check out Hadeen's music.